Good evening, everyone.
Good
Thank,
evening, everyone.
thank you for joining us. What is going on? All right, we had a little feedback problem. Sorry about that. All right, I think we're ready to get going. Thanks for joining us. I think we have a few more people who are going to hop on, but welcome to our first Parks and Recreation Town Hall. I'm Taylor Ladd, Senior Planner for the Town of Hilton Head Island and Project Lead for the Parks and Recreation Master Plan Initiative. Thank you for being here again, and look forward to hearing from you guys this evening. But first, I'm going to start with a little presentation with an update about the master plan process. I'll talk for a minute about where we've been, where we're going next, and this includes some very exciting opportunities for you guys to continue to be involved in what's coming up for Parks and Rec. So after this brief presentation, we'll conduct some live polling and give you all an opportunity to weigh in on some Parks and Rec topics. We have lots of questions to ask, so it may take about 20 or so minutes. And at any time, please start to input your questions using the question widget on your screen. And if you're watching us on Facebook Live, please submit your questions in the comment feed. We are going to track those as well, because after the polling segment of this meeting, we'll conduct a Q&A and have some closing remarks. So with that, well, let's get started. Okay. For some of you, this may look familiar, but we have built in redundancy in this process on purpose, so that if someone only is able to take the survey or only able to attend one of these town hall meetings, then they're still getting all the information that everyone else is getting. All right, there we go. So the town's overarching Parks and Recreation Master Plan is a multi-step process. In August of last year, the town hired Lowe's Design to prepare a Parks and Recreation Master Plan for Hilton Head Island. Lowe's Design worked with town staff, the Parks and Rec Commission, our Planned Parks and Rec Task Group, and the island community to develop this report. After an extensive community engagement period and professional assessment, Part 1 of the master plan was presented to the Parks and Rec Commission in July and adopted by Town Council on October 6th. This part of the plan delivered by Lowe's Design is an informative and data-driven analysis that serves as a starting point for a larger process that entails planning and development for our Parks and Rec system. Adoption of this document by Town Council is a very exciting step for our effort. So this part of the process includes recommendations for improvements to existing parks, beach parks, and recommendations for new park construction, which we'll get into in a little bit. Our consultant also evaluated our 64-mile multi-use pathway network and did an extensive review of our sports facilities, maintenance and operations, park amenities like bathroom buildings and playgrounds. They looked at recreation programming, interpretation and education, and did a specific focus and look at the Island Recreation Association as the town's partner in providing recreation for the island. Part 1 lays the groundwork and provides research that is integral to taking the next step towards progress for Parks and Recreation. Part 2 is how this information was incorporated into the Parks and Rec element of our plan, the town's new 20-year comprehensive plan, which we are anticipating will be adopted tomorrow by Town Council. Yay! Out of this part of the process, we have a vision for Parks and Recreation and integration of the Lowe's Design findings in Part 1, such as the park gap analysis shown on these two maps on the left. The Parks and Rec Task Group worked on goals and strategies about community value, best-in-class facilities, and programs, programming, water, pathways, sports, funding, and accessibility. And finally, our plan includes the initial and final recommendations from Part 1. Upon analysis of the findings from Part 1 and hearing back from the community about the results of the study, staff identified town action items to be considered in addition to the Part 1 recommendation in the areas of existing and proposed parks, recreation facilities, programming, funding, and maintenance and operations. So now that we have this research and recommendations for our island's parks and rec system, what comes next? Well, earlier this month, we launched Part 3 of the town's Parks and Rec Master Plan Initiative. In this part of the process, we're working with the community and stakeholders to prioritize the wealth of recommendations and action items that have been generated so far. We're also looking to hear from you guys about the proposed programming for the 3 major parks that Part 1 recommended as our first priority for major park development. This includes Chaplain Community Park, Crossings Park, and the Mid-Island Track, which is located on the town-owned portion of the old Planners Road Golf Course. This one will actually be a brand new community park for our island. And now, how will we do this? Well, with town council support, of course. In September, our council passed a resolution authorizing staff to move forward with recommendations per the master plan initiative and to start planning and identifying funding sources. So we have some exciting ways for everyone to get going and to get this process in motion. So given the current norm, we're trying to offer multiple types of opportunities for each of you to join the conversation. So first, we have been hosting a survey since last week on Open Town Hall. The survey has lots of questions about the 3 parks and your preferences for prioritizing other recommendations, and we'll post a link in the chat towards the end of this meeting. Second, we have these virtual town hall meetings. Got off to a little loud start today, but thanks for hanging in there, guys. But we are going to have 2 more. Don't feel like you need to come to all of them because they will all be just the same with similar questions. We're just trying to give a range of opportunities for folks to get involved. And then finally, we are going to have 2 open park days where staff will be set up in a park with maps and stickers so we can get outside together and continue the conversation, socially distanced, of course. So the first meeting will be at November 5th from 1 to 5 at Jarvis Creek Community Park. And the second will be November 12th at Shelter Cove Community Park from 10 to 2. With all this going on, we have a few ways to stay informed. Follow the town's Facebook page for posts about all of these events and meetings. You can subscribe to our e-subscription service. By the way, if you already are on the subscription service and you are getting our plan updates, you will automatically include it in the new one for Parks and Rec. And last week, we started sending out a very brief newsletter with the week's events or meetings for Parks and Rec. So if you got that newsletter last week, then hooray, you're already signed up. Now, we also have a landing page on the town's website for Parks and Recreation. It shows all this great information so you can stay in the know with what's going on, and we even have a little spot here where you can sign up to get the newsletter. Now, with all of this information gathering from you this fall, I bet you're wondering, okay, when are we going to start doing something with all this? Well, that's a great question. So your input is very important because it's going to help us with the next level of conceptual planning for the 3 major parks this winter and spring. It will also give town officials guidance on where to focus our capital improvements plan and policy for Parks and Rec over the next several years. So I'm very excited for what's coming for our Parks and Rec, and I hope you guys are too. This concludes my update for this evening. So if you guys are multitasking, I invite you back to your screen because now we're ready to start hearing from you. So if you've already taken the survey that's on the town website, some of these poll questions will look familiar, but we appreciate your participation for the benefit of everyone who's tuning in tonight. And definitely keep asking questions in the Q&A widget on your screen, or folks watching on Facebook, please feel free to ask questions in the Facebook comment feed because we can see those too. And as we go, if you don't see any answers to questions in the poll that work for you, then definitely leave us a comment in the chat. All right, so first question. We want to know if you participated in the earlier part of the process. So that would be if you were involved with LOS Design, any of the stuff that they did, if you participated or even came to a Parks and Rec Commission meeting, provided public comment, took the survey, anything like that. We're going to let this run for a few more seconds. Okay. Like we got 80-20 split there. So 80% of you were able to participate earlier. For those of you who didn't, welcome to the process. We're very glad you're here. All right, next poll. So if you did participate, tell us how you did. Did you come to or participate in a Parks and Rec Commission meeting? Are you in the task group, or did you come to one of the task group meetings? Did you come to the focus group meeting? Did you take the survey or attend an open house? All right, so we got a good range of folks who were able to participate with us early on in the process. Awesome. And then we just have a quick little demographic question asking which of the following best describes your residency? Are you a year-round resident, part-time, or do you live nearby, or are you just a visitor to our area? All right, thank you very much. We got most of the folks with us this evening are year-round residents, and like we got someone who's part-time resident or year-round nearby. Awesome. So go on to the next one. All right, we're going to start with some general questions here. There were a lot of recommendations for other parks on the island besides the 3 big proposed projects at Chaplain Crossings and Mid-Island. So let us know. These are just some of the other recommendations that were out there. I'm just curious to know if there's any of these that you think look important or might be important for the town to address along with the other 3 park projects. That's showing. Okay, so we got a lot of votes for new amenities and fields at Barker Field. And we got a vote for the Betsy Jakuski Xeriscape Garden, which a lot of folks don't even know exists, but it is one of our mini parks located at Town Hall. Great. Okay, so we've got 6 different types of park amenities, kind of categories, and I'm curious to know which of these 6 categories are most important to you. We have sports facilities, water access, aquatics facilities, bike ped amenities, nature access and interpretation, or culture and arts interpretation. So which park amenity type is most important to you? And again, for the towns that kind of our full online survey, you're able to rank a lot of these things or give multiple answers. So we have some limitations with the polling, but at least we're able to get beginnings of an idea with this. All right. I think we've got a good across the board group of answers here. Thanks, you guys. All right. So now, which type of programming is important to you? We have sports tourism, non-sports for youth like art classes, non-sports for adults like cooking classes, arts and culture, and nature. And I'll mention for those of you who are just watching on Facebook, we're glad that you're there, but if you actually register to join the meeting, then you're able to actively participate in the polling. So we're going to post a link to register to join this meeting. If anyone's on Facebook, we're going to post a link there on the comments, and you can hop on if you want to join us for the rest of the questions. All right, so we're going to end this poll. And it looks like we got a lot of votes for nature and sports tourism and non-sport programming for youth. Great. All right, so now we're going to start. We've got 3 questions about each of the 3 big park sites that we're discussing. First one is Chaplain, and we're curious to know if you go to Chaplain Community Park at all, how often do you visit that park? Almost daily, weekly, monthly, a few times per year, rarely? Let us know how often you go by Chaplain Community Park. All right, looks like we also have another range of visitors at Chaplain Community Park. Thank you. With some folks who rarely go all the way to folks who go almost daily. So that's good information. Our next question about Chaplain Community Park is which amenities, so if you go to the park for anything, which of these amenities do you use there most frequently? So Chaplain Park's got a lot of stuff going on. We've got a dog park, tennis courts, baseball, softball, or multi-purpose fields. A lot of folks park there just to go to the beach. We have basketball, pickleball court, and playground. Oh, thanks. All right, so if you go to Chaplain Park, we have a lot of folks who are using the sports fields or parking there to go to the beach, and we have some tennis court users. Final question for Chaplain Community Park. What amenity would you most like to see at the new park? So what's been proposed is a complete overhaul of Chaplain Community Park. And we've got lots of great ideas and we got lots of good recommendations from our consultant about good things for that park, but we want to know what you guys think as well. So it says on the poll that if you select turf fields, let us know in the chat if you prefer synthetic or natural. We also have off-road pathways, dog park, pickleball, tennis facility. That would be a new tennis facility, sand volleyball courts. And again, on the full survey online, you're able to rank these and provide multiple answers. So there's a lot more flexibility built in there. Okay, just a few more seconds. All right. We got lots of interest in off-road pathways and boardwalks. We got turf fields and no surprise, pickleball. All right. So moving on to Crossings Park, where we're going to start with the same question about Crossings Park. If you go to Crossings Park, if you use that space at all, how often are you there? Just a few more seconds there so you guys get your answers in. All right, so we have anywhere from almost daily to a few times a year, rarely. Great. So similar question for crossings. Which of the current amenities at Crossings Park do you use the most? There's a few different things there. And while you guys are voting, I'll just explain that what came out of the research that was done for Crossings Park was a recommendation to consolidate all of our baseball and softball facilities in one location. So that would mean pulling everything that's up at Barker Field right now, happening up there on those baseball, softball fields, and just consolidating it all at Crossings Park. while at the same time adding a few community type amenities like a nice playground, maybe something like a dog park, things like that to expand its offerings to be a joint sports and community-based park so that more folks can take advantage of it. Okay, we're going to shut down the poll for this one. We got a vote for meadows, soccer field, pathways, and lots of votes for walking trails. I know there's walking trails there now, but I think it would be more formalized through this process. All right, last question for Crossings Park. In addition to baseball and softball at Crossings Park, which amenities would you most like to see added? So these would be kind of while it would be a baseball, softball specific sports park, like I said, we want to expand on that to make it a community park as well. So what would you guys like to see there that would expand its availability to folks for community use? Pathway connections, general use turf field for pickup games, dog park, new playground, splash pad. All right, a couple more seconds here. Everyone's in. All right, so pathway connections and boardwalks or bike trails. That's a big vote. General use turf field for community use and new playground. Great. Moving on to the Mid-Island Track, which is the town-owned portion of the former Planners Row Golf Course in the Port Royal area. The recommendation for this from our consultant and this review process so far has been to provide a community park for the north end of the island, and this happens to be the perfect location. So we got a few questions about what sort of amenities you might want to see there. We have typical park amenities. So that's things like playground, splash pad, dog park, multi-use pathways, event lawn or event pavilion. All right, I'm going to wrap up this poll. We got splash pad, dog park, multi-use pathways, lots of votes for event lawn or an event pavilion. So while the Low Country Celebration Park is going to have a feature like this, it'd be really awesome to balance that with the similar use on the north end of the island, maybe. All right, so Mid-Island Track, which of these special park amenities would you most like to see at the new park? Off-road pathways or nature trails, fitness trail workout stations, generally another space for a general use turf field for community use or pickup games, bird watching areas, planted meadow, conservation area, or outdoor classroom. All right, we're going to wrap up this poll. So we got votes for fitness trail, general use field again, planted meadow, and a few votes for conservation area, outdoor classroom. All right, we're on to our final question. Last one again about Mid-Island Track, and we've got a few active recreation facilities that you'd most like to see. Bocce courts may not be technically active recreation, but it is a sport, so that's on there. Outdoor basketball courts, multi-purpose turf sports fields. So tell us in the chat again what you think would be good here, natural or synthetic turf, disc golf or foot golf, and pump track, which is a type of little dirt track for bicyclists, not motorized bikes, in case you're wondering. All right, last call for the final poll question. Perfect. So we got some votes for multi-purpose turf sports fields. That's great. That was one of the recommendations. Sand volleyball courts and bocce. Awesome. Okay, guys. Thank you for participating in our polling. And again, we will publish in the chat here a link to that in just a moment, a link to the open town hall so you can take the full survey. But first, Jennifer has a question.
Yes, we have a question. Will the town be doing master plans for the 3 major parks at the same time?
All right, so that's a great question. Thank you for sending that in. The town will be doing that. So part of what the information we're getting from you guys today and through the survey and the rest of our meetings and events this month and in early November is to help us put together an RFP so that we can find a consultant to work with staff and the public to develop conceptual plans for those 3 major parks. And so we will be doing those all 3 at the same time with the same consultant at the lead for that, working with us. And that we anticipate that happening this spring. So that'll be a very exciting part of the process, and it'll probably last through the end of the fiscal year. All right, any other questions? You guys can post those in the chat. Thank you, Teresa, for posting on our chat there the link to take the survey. And if there's nothing else, then that's all we have for this evening, folks. I want to thank you very much for joining us, and hope that you'll come out and see us at one of the parks in November, and that you'll take the survey. Have a great evening.